different cases of different types of arrays. Yesterday we have seen. Okay. So if all the antenna elements are kept along a straight line, those are called linear arrays. Okay. If all the antenna elements are not kept along a straight line, and if they are kept along a curve, those are called nonlinear arrays. Okay. Similarly, if all the antennas are supplied with currents of uniform amplitude, that is called uniform array. If all the antenna elements of the array are supplied with non-uniform currents, so the type of array is called non-uniform array. Okay. And similarly, if an array is both linear and uniform, that is called uniform linear array. Uniform linear array. And these are the different types of the arrays that are coming in this category. Broadside arrays, end-fire arrays. And in order to increase the directivity of an end-fire array, some conditions are imposed on that array. So that is called increased directivity end-fire array. Okay. And later one is scanning arrays. So this is the last topic of the third unit, of course. And similarly, here on the right side, if you see conformal arrays, if an array is following a particular structure, so that is called conformal array. And similarly, if all the antenna elements are falling in a plane, that is called planar array. Okay. And Aggie-Oda antenna is an example for parasitic array. So there are parasitic elements in that array. Therefore, this is called parasitic array. So these are studied yesterday. Okay. And also we have seen that the definitions of broadside arrays and end-fire arrays. The definition of a broadside array is that if the radiation pattern of an array is falling perpendicular to the axis of an array, is called broadside array. Broadside means perpendicular side. Similarly, the radiation pattern of an array is falling along the ends of the array line, that is called end-fire array. So that also we have seen yesterday. What is called broadside array and what is called end-fire array. Today, while explaining this two-element array and the different cases of two-element arrays, we will also explain the broadside array and also end-fire array. I will show that also. Okay. So by using two antenna elements, now we are going to form the antenna array, and we are calculating the field at the far point from the array, and we will take different cases. The different cases are nothing but the supply of currents to the antennas will be falling under different cases. Okay, sometimes we apply the same polarity currents, and sometimes we apply the currents of opposite polarity, and sometimes we supply the currents are out of phase by some 90 degrees. Okay, and also the currents are having any type of phase difference. That case also will be studied. Okay, so these are all the things that we are going to study. That means what is called two-element array. What is called two-element array? If an antenna is containing two elements, two antennas, if the antenna array is containing two antenna elements, that means it is containing two antennas only. So in that array, that is called two-element array. Okay. Similarly, we will be having three-element array, four-element array, like that, and so on up to n-element array also. Okay. So that n-element array will be studied in the coming classes. Okay. So now today, so we are aiming at study of the two-element array. Okay, and its different cases. Now I will share that two-element array. So these are the topics of our syllabus that we have. Okay. Now come to the two elementer. Okay. So let us see. So I have taken two antennas, and these two antennas are forming a group. So therefore, it is called an array, and this is called antenna 1. So let us say here antenna 2 is kept here. This is the place of antenna 1. This is the place of antenna 2. Okay. And at a far off point, where let us say this is the far off point. At this point, we are calculating the field due to these two antennas. Here, these two antennas are supposed to be the isotropic radiators. These antennas are supposed to be isotropic radiators. And this antenna 1 is represented by a thick dot, and this antenna 2 will be represented by another thick dot. Here, this thick dot and this thick dot both are representing two antennas. Okay. So observation point is somewhere else here, far away from the this antenna array. So therefore, these two antennas are forming an array. So this is the line. This red colored line is the line joining these two antennas. Okay. So this is the line joining these two antennas, antenna 1 and antenna 2. So this is called the axis of the array. So from the axis of the array, so this point P is taken uh, far away from here. So therefore that means we are going to calculate the far field of this antenna array. That means far field in the sense the radiation field. So let us say from antenna 2, this observation point is away by R1 meters. Okay. And similarly from antenna 1, the observation point is far away by R2 meters. So this is the midpoint of the line joining these two antennas. So therefore this is the midpoint between this antenna 1 and this antenna 2. Okay. From the midpoint, that observation point is supposed to be at R meters. Okay. And since the point is far away from this array, and these three lines are supposed to be straight lines. These three lines are supposed to be straight lines since the observation point is far away from here. So since these three are straight lines automatically, so these, so let us say this is angle is some theta, okay, and here you draw a line like this onto the line R. So let us say this angle is phi degrees, and this angle is almost it is right angle. Okay, so let us say this is some theta. Okay, so this phi will be equal to 90 minus theta. This phi will be equal to 90 minus theta. It is because so this angle is this theta will be equal to this angle. So therefore, this angle can be written as phi equal to 90 minus theta. Okay. And since these three lines, this R1, this R2, these three lines are supposed to be parallel because this observation point is far away from this antenna array. So therefore, these three will become parallel. If that is the case, this R1 can be approximated like this. So if you see in this figure, this R1 is somewhat longer than R1. This R is somewhat said to be longer than this R1. So how much it is differing? So it is differing by this amount. This is the path difference. Okay. This is the path difference. So if you calculate the length from this point to this point. So that is uh, taken as some d by 2 cos phi. Since this amount of distance is d by 2, because from 1 to 2, antenna 1 to antenna 2, the length is supposed to be d meters. So since this is midpoint, this length will be d by 2. So therefore, this length from this point to this point, this is called path difference. Path difference is here shown by this arrow line. So therefore, this is d by 2 cos phi. So therefore, this r can be represented as r1 minus d by 2 cos phi. So therefore, this r1 is equal to r plus d by 2 cos phi. And similarly, r2 also is represented here. So this r2 is also somewhat higher than this r. Okay. So here also that cannot be represented like this. Here also you draw a dotted line onto this one. So that path reference will be d by 2 cos phi here also. So therefore, this can also be represented like this. Okay. So therefore, the total field, so this E is said to be the total field that is observed at observation point P, will be equal to the combination of the fields of this antenna 1 and antenna 2. Okay. It is nothing but the combination of fields of antenna 1 and antenna 2. The field due to antenna 1 is represented by the multiplication of this one. Generally, the field by an antenna is proportional to e power minus j beta r. That what we have seen in the case of Hertzian dipole. Okay, so due to that, this can be written as E naught into e power minus j beta r. This is said to be the common factor. Okay, that is taken out, and this can be written like this. So therefore, the combination of the fields of this antenna 1 and antenna 2 is taken as the total field that is observed at the observation point. Okay, so therefore, this can be simplified like this. So this can be approximated to here. The psi is nothing but the phase difference between the antenna radiations observed at the observation point. At the observation point, this antenna 1 radiation is coming here, and antenna 2 radiation is coming here. So if you take the phase difference between these two antenna radiations, that phase difference is supposed to be psi. So that psi is written here. Here the psi is nothing but beta d cos phi. So why there is phase difference between these two antenna radiations when observed at the observation point? It is because this radiation is propagating over some distance. So this radiation is propagating over some other distance. But these two distances are different. This R1 distance and R2 distance both are different. Okay. There is some path length between these two distances. Since the length of these two lines are not same, the difference of the length of these two lines is nothing but the path length. So due to the difference of these two path lengths of these two radiations, so automatically there will be some phase difference that is observed between the antenna radiations. So that phase difference is nothing but represented by psi. That psi equal to beta d cos phi. So this beta d cos phi here, beta d cos phi is represented by psi here. Okay. And also this beta d cos phi is represented by psi. The psi is nothing but the phase difference between the antenna radiations. So let us see here also it is written beta d cos phi. What is beta? Phase shift constant, that is 2 pi by lambda. So already there is d. D is nothing but the distance of separation between these two antennas. This antenna 1 and antenna 2 are separated by this distance, d meters. So therefore 2 pi by lambda into d into cos phi. So therefore this is nothing but the phase difference between these two antennas represented by psi, that is equal to beta d cos phi. So that is equal to 2 pi d by lambda cos phi. Okay. So therefore this is beta d, this cos phi. What is phi? Phi is nothing but 90 minus theta. Phi is nothing but 90 minus theta. So therefore, you take 90 minus theta. Cos of 90 minus theta, that will become sin theta. Okay. So in overall, the psi is equal to 2 by lambda into d into sin theta. That we have to observe. Okay. So therefore, you try to simplify these things. So generally, this beta d cos phi is represented by psi, and here also. So we are writing like this, and this one. So if you take this expression, so this expression will be generally it is equal to 2 into cos psi by 2. So we have seen that e power minus j theta plus e power j theta by 2 equal to 2 cos theta. So in that way, so this can be simplified to 2 cos of psi by 2. So that we have seen. Already there is E naught, 2 E naught cos psi by 2. So what is psi? Psi is nothing beta d cos phi. So if you replace this psi by beta d cos phi, and again beta equal to 2 pi by lambda, so that is reduced to pi into d by lambda into cos phi. Okay. So now we will study the different cases, how we are supplying the based on the supply of the currents. So now let us say these two are isotropic radiators. Let us say this is here is this antenna 1, here antenna 2. So both are falling on a same straight line. Okay. So this is called axis of the array. You suppose that here is antenna 1, antenna 2, and this is the line joining the antennas. So therefore this is forming a two element array. And what we are doing here, we are taking two antennas, and those two antennas are supposed to be isotropic. Okay, you know what is called isotropic radiator. So isotropic radiator is nothing but the radiator which delivers uniform power in all directions. That is called isotropic radiator. Physically, it is not possible, and in ideal case, we assume the existence of this isotropic radiator. That's what we have seen earlier in the classes. Okay. Two isotropic radiators are taken. Those are kept over a straight line, and those are radiating energy. That means those are radiating, and those are radiating when same amplitude and phase. Here, case one is same amplitude of current and same phase. Two currents are having same amplitude and same phase. Okay. Let us say antenna 1 is supplied with some current, I amperes. Here also we are supplying the antenna 2 with the same current, I amperes. So both are I amperes. Here also I ampere of current is supplied to antenna 2, and I amperes of current is supplied to antenna 1. And those are maintaining same phase. There is no phase difference between these two currents. So that is case 1. Okay. That means these are having same amplitude in the sense, same amplitude and same phase in the sense, those are having same polarity. Those are having same polarity also. Okay. If they are maintaining the same polarity, then what will be the situation? Okay. What will be the radiation pattern that is obtained for this antenna array? That we will be seen. Okay. So let us come here. You take this case. In this case also, so let us see, both are maintaining same polarity. Same polarity in the sense, here these, here E is written as the combination of the fields of, the total field is nothing but the combination of the fields of the antenna 1 field and antenna 2 field. Field due to the antenna 1 and field due to antenna 2. So now in the first case, we are taking the antennas are supplied with the currents of same amplitude and same phase. Same amplitude and same phase in the sense, here both the amplitudes are same, E naught, and here also E naught. The magnitudes are, this is E naught and this is also E naught. That means both are maintaining same amplitude of current. Okay. And also this is plus E naught and also this is plus E naught. That means both are having same phase. Okay. This is plus E naught and this is plus E naught. That means both are having same phase. And the magnitude is same. Plus E naught, this magnitude, if you take, this is E naught magnitude and this is E naught. Both are having same magnitude of the current. Okay, since the field is proportional to the current. Okay, so for this expression will apply to the our case one. That means same amplitude and same phase. Okay, so when this is simplified, what we are getting here? So upon simplification, we are taking this one. So when you substitute this R1 value, R plus d by 2 cos phi in this expression, similarly this expression onto this R2, what we are getting, the resultant as 2E naught cos of pi d lambda cos phi. Okay, so we can take directly this particular expression. So in our case, now, so that what we are getting here, so we are getting cos of beta d cos phi by 2. Cos of beta d cos phi by 2. So this is the final expression you take here. Okay. Here beta d, for the place of beta d, it is taken as dr. It is represented by dr. So this dr is nothing but beta d. So dr is nothing but beta d. So beta is nothing but 2 pi by lambda into d. Okay. So wherever you find this dr, so you have to imagine that that is nothing but beta d. Wherever you find this dr, you have to imagine that this is beta d. Okay. So beta d by 2 cos phi. Okay. So therefore, here generally commonly we take the distance between the antenna two elements, the distance between the antenna elements as the most preferably we take lambda by 2. So let us say in our case one, that means same amplitude and same phase. We are taking d equals some lambda by 2. Okay. So if we take this, then this expression will be changed to this one. So E equal to cos of pi by 2 cos phi. How we are getting this expression here? This beta d is nothing but dr, and in the place of d we are taking lambda by 2. In the place of d we are taking lambda by 2. So that means this lambda by 2 is substituted here. So you substitute here for the place of d. So d is nothing but lambda by 2. So if you substitute here, this 2 and this 2 will be cancelled. Okay. And this lambda will be cancelled. Okay. So therefore, ultimately that dr will be equal to pi. Okay. So you take that value of pi in the place of dr. So therefore, that will become cos of pi by 2 cos phi. Cos of pi by 2 cos phi. Understand? Once again, let us see. D is taken here as lambda by 2. Okay. This lambda by 2 is taken in this place. So therefore, this denominator 2 and numerator 2 both are cancelled. And this lambda will be cancelled. So therefore, what we are having dr equal to pi. So you take that value of pi in the place of dr. So therefore, that will become pi by 2 cos phi. So therefore, E equal to cos of pi by 2 cos phi is the resultant field of the array. So therefore, E equal to cos of pi by 2 cos phi is the resultant field of the array. Okay. Just we are examining what will be the radiation pattern under these different cases. The overtaken first case is same amplitude and same phase. For that, the resultant field is uh, becoming like this. Okay. So now we are testing how the radiation pattern will be for this first case. So you take this the values of phi, different values of phi like this, and similarly the resultant field here. You take some phi equal to 0 degrees. You take this phi equal to 0 degrees. So therefore cos 0 equal to 1. Everybody knows. So that is 1 into pi by 2. Okay, pi by 2. So cos of pi by 2. That means cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. Okay. So that means we are getting zero field, zero resultant field in the direction of phi equal to 0 degrees. Okay. So that means this is 0 degrees direction. Phi equal to 0 degrees. In this direction, we are getting zero field. Okay. So let us see here is there is no lobe at all. There is no radiation lobe at all. That means zero field is there along the line joining these two antennas. That means this is array axis. And similarly, you take another value of phi. So phi equal 90 degrees you take. So if you take phi equal 90 degrees, so what is happening here? Uh, cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. So 0 into pi by 2. Okay, 0. So that means cos 0, that is equal to 1. Okay, cos 0 equal to 1. So we are getting the field value as maximum. Generally, the cosine will be having the maximum value as 1. So therefore, the field we are getting, whatever the field, resultant field that we are getting due to this antenna array as maximum. So that means in the direction of 90 degrees, we are getting maximum field. So let us see. This is the 90 degrees direction. This is the 90 degrees direction. That means this is said to be the perpendicular direction or broadside direction. Okay. So we are getting maximum field. So therefore, we are having the major lobe. We are having major lobe in this direction, in the 90 degrees direction. And similarly, you take another direction value as phi equals 60 degrees. So if you take phi equals 60 degrees, cos 60 equal to, what is the value of cos 60? That is 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 into pi by 2. Okay, that will become pi by 4. And this cos pi by 4. So that will be equal to 1 by root 2. So therefore the resultant field value is equal to the 1 by root 2 of the maximum. Okay, resultant field is 1 by root 2 of the max value. So that means generally this is said to be the half power point. Okay, it is because the maximum value is unity that we are getting here. Okay, that 1 by root 2 is said to be the half power point or 3 dB point. So therefore, in the direction of 60 degrees, we are getting 3 dB point. That means this is 60 degrees direction. We are getting this 3 dB point here. Okay. Since the structure is symmetric, we expect the same 3 dB point on the other side at the same distance from the from this axis. That means this is away from this 90 degrees axis by 30 degrees. Since this is 60, this angle will be 30. So here, away from this 90 degrees axis at an angle of 30 degrees from y-axis, we are getting the similar 3 dB point. Okay. So therefore, if we add this 30 degrees to this 90, that will become 120 degrees. So therefore, in the direction of 120 degrees, we expect the another 3 dB point here. Since the structure is symmetric, so therefore this is 1 by root 2 point on this side and this is 1 by root 2 point on the other side. Okay. So that means from here to here this angle is 30 degrees. It is because this is 60 degrees, that what you have seen 60 degrees. That means from here to here 60, from here to here it will be 30 only. So therefore this is 30 and this is 30. So 30 plus 30, that will become 30 plus 30 will become 60 degrees. That means if you take the angular difference between these two half power points, so that will become nothing but the half power beam width. That whatever you have seen in the earlier units, that means basically it is first unit that we have seen that half power beam width. Nothing but the angular difference between the half power points on the main beam of a radiation pattern. Okay, so therefore here in our case, under case 1 of same amplitude and same phase, we are getting the half power beam width as HPBW as 60 degrees. That what we have seen, half power beam width as 60 degrees in this particular plane. Okay, so therefore we are getting the minimum field, that means almost zero field in this direction of phi equal to 0 degrees, and maximum field in the direction of 90 degrees. Okay, in the direction of 90 degrees we are getting maximum field. That means we have studied field maximus and field minimus. So here almost zero field. That means this direction is said to be a null direction also, the direction of null. Since there is no radiation at all in this direction can also be treated to be null direction. Okay, and this is said to be the 3 dB direction. Okay, since there is a 3 dB point along this direction of phi equal to 60 degrees, this red color line. So this red color line is representing the phi equal to 120 degrees, because basically these are symmetric. Okay, so this is one 3 dB point, this is another 3 dB point, and if you take the angle difference, that is going to be half power beam width. Okay, so far we have studied the case 1. So in the case 1, if you see, the radiation pattern is lying along the perpendicular direction. Perpendicular direction is nothing but broadside direction. So therefore this case can be treated to be the case of a broadside array. It can be treated to be a case of a broadside array. That means we can construct a broadside array. So when we maintain the amplitude, same amplitude and same phase currents to the respective antennas in the array. We have taken, of course, we have taken only 2 antennas. For those 2 antennas, we are taking the currents as same amplitude and same phase. So under that case, we are getting the radiation pattern along the broad side of the array line. So broad side means the 90 degrees side or perpendicular side of this array line. So therefore, this is called said to be a case of broadside array. That means broadside array can be constructed. So by applying this particular case of same amplitude and same phase. So that we have to remember always. That means, so let us suppose that the phase difference between the antenna currents as some alpha. Suppose that the phase difference of currents as alpha. That means here alpha is equal to 0. It is because same phase. Same phase means alpha equal to 0. So under alpha equal to 0, we are getting the broadside array. Okay, we can construct broadside array for this case of 2 element array. That we have to remember. When alpha equal to 0 degrees, we are getting broadside array, and the antenna currents are having same amplitude. Okay, and we'll study the remaining cases in the coming classes. So next case immediately will be same amplitude and out of phase by 180. The currents are out of phase by 180 degrees. So 180 degrees in the sense generally those are having opposite polarity. Okay, same amplitude and opposite polarity is the next case. That what we are going to study in the coming class. Okay. So far what we have discussed here. So we have discussed the introduction in the earlier class, and that introduction is nothing about the antenna array. So basically, similar antennas, when similarly oriented, it is called an antenna array. So this the resultant pattern is nothing but the vectorial addition of the fields of the individual antennas of the array, and the different types of array that what we have seen. And next, what we have seen today is two element array. When an antenna array is having only two antennas in it, it is called two element array. Okay, so we tried to establish different cases or different types of radiations by taking different cases. Under first case we have taken today is the same amplitude and same phase of current, so that we have seen so far. Okay, tomorrow we'll see the rest of the cases. Okay, so I will stop sharing.